Imagine an 8-year-old boy walking for 3 months through the deserts of Africa before spending 18 years in a refugee camp. That's exactly what David Nuyol Vincent did before coming to Australia as a refugee. He's now an inspiration to Melbourne's Sudanese community and has written a book about his life. Kathy Lord met him.
How are you? Good. Yeah. How are you? Long time, I haven't seen you.
On school days, David Vincent meets with kids like these at a Melbourne breakfast club. To them, he's a role model and a hero, but his childhood was far from happy. At the age of 8, he began a 3-month trek with his father to escape war in South Sudan.
He knelt down and looked straight into my eyes and said, "David, you are a man, and the only way you should survive is for you to stand up for yourself. I will not be around you all the time." And so from that start, I switched my head straight away. The body and the age I could be young, but I have to start thinking like an adult, otherwise I can't survive.
Fighting was a way of life for young boys in refugee camps. They became the Lost Boys of Sudan, child soldiers fighting to liberate their country.
I looked at it as an opportunity for us to take up arms to be able to liberate our country. The only problem now in the West, or different people looking at it, they look at it as child abuse, they look at it as, children has to be protected. And to be honest, until I came to this country, I saw nothing wrong about it at all.
David was trained as a soldier, but he was never sent to the front line. His lifelong friend, rap singer Emmanuel Jal, did fight, and he's now making music about his wartime experience.
I believe I've survived for a reason to tell my story, to touch lives.
One of the things that has sort of really struck me in my life is when my daughter actually asked him to play with the iPad. But for me, I didn't even have that chance to play with. Who is that? Me. You have guns, you have a lot of all sort of dangerous toys that we used to play with. So to me, that was very hard, and that's the life that I think I'm working hard so that no one ever goes through that again. And I hope, when I think about it, it's just like yesterday.
After spending 18 years in a Kenyan refugee camp, David's luck changed. He was sponsored by a cousin and emigrated to Australia. At first, life in Melbourne was challenging, to say the least.
There are so many choices of everything. Because I've lived my whole entire life. If it's food, it's just maybe beans and corns mixed together. And it was easy for me to have that. But now I turn up a dinner table, there's this and there's this and there's that. That's too much for me. I've never been in that situation. And that's why I'm very grateful to live a life where there is so many choices. To me, it's just amazing.
3, 2, 1!
But some things never change. David was a star soccer player in the camps, playing with a homemade ball. Now he plays with the Western Tigers in the Brimbank Soccer League.
When I play soccer, whether it's a competition or just casually, it's one moment that I don't think of any of the problem. I feel that I'm just like any other kid or like any other person in the world because of soccer, because it takes my mind away. I don't think of anything that I've gone through.
The beating death of Sudanese refugee Liep Goni was a low point for the man who says he will always consider himself to be a refugee. He confronted former Immigration Minister Kevin Andrews when he politicised the incident by suggesting Sudanese immigrants weren't assimilating.
I painted my face with white zinc, and I said, "Is this what you mean by integration or assimilation?" For me, it was out of anger that was in me, and that's how my work with the young people in the community started, actually, because I thought I'm in a very lucky position that I will be able to speak, raise their voice.
David is also frustrated by the current debate about asylum seekers.
We are getting it wrong, and to me, it's really, really sad. It's because politics takes over. So politics they put politics first, but they don't put the human side, they put it second. And so if they remove that politics and then look at it from that lens, we will strike a deal, I'm very sure.
In August, he plans to return to the village where he was born to help the people break the cycle of poverty. Quitting his job was a difficult decision for David, who financially supports more than 50 relatives back home.
My father, at the other end of the line, he said, "David, before we knew where you were, we used to survive. we used to live without the support you're giving us. And I say, Dad, that's exactly what I want to do. I want us to go back and look at how we used to survive before, way long before NGOs and aid. Let's look at that and see how we can bring the community back to live like that. That way, we are not depending on anyone else. We have the resources, we have the skills, and we're able to be independent.